Have you ever wondered what it would be like if your city could tell you exactly where an open parking spot is? Or if the garbage trucks only came when the bins were actually full, saving fuel and cutting down on noise? Well, this isn't science fiction anymore. It's the reality of what we call a smart city. Our cities are literally learning to think, all thanks to data. So today, we're going to break down exactly how they do it.
So, what really makes a city smart? At its core, it's all about connection. It's about using technology to link up every part of a city's lifeblood: the transportation we use, the power and water for our homes, our healthcare, all the infrastructure that holds it together. It's basically one giant interconnected network designed to make city living run smoother for all of us.
Right, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How does a city actually know these things? How does it get all those tiny, specific details that, make a huge difference in our day-to-day lives? It's not magic, that's for sure. It's all about the tech. And here's the secret sauce. The city's brain is powered by countless tiny digital conversations, zipping all around us, every single second. It's this invisible web of communication that makes everything work, and it has a name you've definitely heard: the Internet of Things. Okay, so let's pull back the curtain and look at the technology that makes it all happen. You can almost think of it as the city's central nervous system. The Internet of Things, or IoT, sounds complex, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's all about taking everyday physical objects, sticking some sensors and software in them, and then hooking them up to the internet. And just like that, these normal objects can suddenly talk. They can collect and share information about what's happening around them. And when we say things, we mean, well, pretty much everything. What's so amazing about this is just how broad it is. We're talking about complex factory machines, life-saving medical gear, the smart speakers in your house, and yep, even the phone you're probably holding right now. They're all potential little information gatherers in this massive network. Okay, so we've got billions of these connected things. But how does a little bit of information from just one of them, let's say a sensor on a streetlight, actually turn into something useful? To really get it, we need to follow the journey of one single piece of data. So this journey basically has three main steps. First, it starts with the sensor, grabbing information from the real world. Then, that info passes through a kind of local hub called a gateway. And finally, it makes its way to its destination in the cloud. Let's break each of those down. All right, step one is all about sensing. The best way to think about sensors is as the city's digital eyes and ears. They're out there just constantly measuring what's happening. So a sensor in a parking spot can tell if a car is there. A sensor in a trash can knows how full it's getting. A streetlight can detect when someone is walking by. They're turning real-world stuff into raw data. Now, all those sensors can't just be shouting their data out into the world. They need a local coordinator, right? And that's exactly what an IoT gateway does. It acts like a neighborhood post office for data. It gathers up all the little messages from the sensors nearby, bundles them together, and then sends them off to the wider internet. And that final destination is the cloud, which, let's be real, is just a fancy term for a network of super powerful computers. The gateway sends its data packets there. And that's where that one little piece of information from our streetlight finally joins millions, even billions of others. Now it's ready to be stored, processed, and, this is the important part, analyzed. So that was the journey of one tiny piece of data. Now, let's zoom back out and see what happens when millions of these journeys are happening all at once, every single second. This is where the real magic of a smart city kicks in. When you take all these nonstop streams of information and put them together, you get what we call big data. And honestly, the name is a little misleading. The big part isn't what matters. What's crucial is that within this enormous, messy flow of information are hidden patterns, the secret rhythms of how a city actually works, just waiting to be found. And this slide, wow, this perfectly shows what I mean. On the left, you've just got raw data. A bunch of numbers and facts. Light is 10 lux. Motion detected, it's 7 p.m. Okay, fine. But when you analyze it, it becomes actionable intelligence. The system doesn't just know it's dim, it understands the context. Hey, it's getting dark and there's a person here. And then it makes a smart decision. Turn up the lights. That is the leap from just collecting data to actually using it to do something useful. The whole thing is this constant looping cycle. It kicks off with devices sensing the world. That data is then analyzed, which leads to a smart action. And that action creates real value for us humans. A safer walk home, a less frustrating commute, which in turn creates new data for the sensors to pick up. And the cycle just keeps going. It's a system that's designed to constantly learn and get better. So the big question is, what can a city do with all this intelligence? Well, it can reroute traffic on the fly to prevent gridlock. It can guide you directly to an open parking spot. It can monitor air quality and noise levels. It can send out garbage trucks only when they're needed. It can even make the entire power grid more stable and save energy. These aren't small fixes. They fundamentally change how a city works for the better.
All right, for our last section, let's zoom out one more time to the really big picture. What was the big technological shift that made this all possible? And what are the major hurdles we still have to clear to build these connected cities of the future?
A really key part of this whole story is the shift from older machine-to-machine, or M2M systems, to the modern IoT. See, M2M systems were usually closed off, designed for one specific job. Think of one machine talking to one computer. But IoT is built on an open marketplace using common standards. And that openness, that's the magic ingredient. It's what lets a parking sensor from company A talk to a traffic app from company B, creating a real citywide ecosystem.
Of course, a world disconnected comes with some huge challenges. We absolutely need rock-solid security to protect all this critical infrastructure from cyber attacks. We have to make sure that all the personal data being collected is handled responsibly and ethically, protecting people's privacy. And we have to keep pushing for universal standards so that a sensor from one brand can actually talk to a gateway from another. The potential here is just massive. This quote really nails it. IoT isn't just some tech upgrade, it's a tool that's going to fundamentally reshape how our cities are managed, helping not only the people who live in them, but also the city leaders making the big decisions. So that really leaves us with the big final question. The technology is here and it's already changing our world. The challenge now for all of us is to figure out how we build these smart cities so that they're not just efficient, but also secure, private, and truly fair for every single person who calls them home. What do you think is the most important piece of that puzzle?